focus. Ideate, innovate, enable. Pearl Academy presents What's Next in association with CNBC-TV18.
Pearl Academy's flagship event, What's Next, was recently held in Bengaluru to establish the confluence of creativity and technology through dynamic dialogue centered around the impact of tech in the designing world. Aditi Srivastav, president of Pearl Academy, opened the conference highlighting the vision behind What's Next.
It is indeed an honor to welcome each one of you, where the future unfolds through insightful dialogue and collaborative discussions. As we reflect on our journey for the last 31 years, our ethos remains centered around every student as an opportunity to create an impact. We believe they are the legends of tomorrow, the voices of humanity, and the change we aspire to see in the world. At its core, What's Next is not just an event, it is a celebration of human ingenuity. It is a movement. It is a salutation to ideas, a convergence of minds, and a platform that amplifies the voices of those who strive to lead the change. This initiative was born in 2014 with a unique vision to break away from the conventional conference formats and create an environment where everyone in the room is not just an attendee but an equal participant. Over the years, What's Next has become a conference which focuses on critical concerns of the contemporary times. So, thank you for being a part of this transformative event.
Following this, Dr. Sharad Mehra ventured into the concept of emerging realities and traced the rising impact of the metaverse.
What's next and why? Why we actually thought of this idea. It's about 12 years back, when we were having those intense discussion on curriculum and the road ahead. And one of the insights that came, and I got that insight into the room, that to design a curriculum, to design a unique pedagogical approach, let's go and speak to the industry. And one thing we realized that when we went to speak to the industry was equally clueless. Because the industry had a vision which was limited to the next quarter or to the next year, but really nothing beyond that. And that's where the real quest started of this exploration into figuring out what's next and how do we go beyond what we have been doing, get a lot more interesting people in the room and hear their viewpoint. And that is where the whole idea of what's next was born. Today, we are going to discuss this topic around tomorrow through creativity and technology. It's really kind of now out there. You can't isolate technology perhaps from anything. For many years, the die-hard artists in the room perhaps resisted that temptation of allowing technology to be an integral part of what was happening in design schools and design studios. But I think last couple of years especially has shown us that it's just too big. It's too mammoth and it's too critical for us to ignore, and that's where we are really looking at how we craft a tomorrow where creativity and technology can actually come together. Then we looked at this topic, pixels and passion, which is really more to do with the digital and the aesthetics combining together. How would the cinema of tomorrow be impacted by technology? While we will talk about pixel to passion, the marriage of creativity and technology, education, it is also important to understand certain realities in the world of today. Because if we don't recognize what's happening in the world, then our conversation here will be very myopic. For us, I think humanity is the only reality. Thank you.
Diving deep into the world of pixels and passion, Viren Ghosh unveiled the impact of aesthetics in the digital design realm.
I believe that what's next is a journey of change, a hard and deliberate change, where innovators are prepared to do what it takes to change. So I think this forum is really going to explore and explode some of those contexts. I represent a group of collective artists, technicians, developers, creatives. We call ourselves Technicolor Creative Studios, and I'm one of the leadership team reinventing the future of digital imagery in the next verse. My motto is that the best way to invent the future or the best way to predict the future is to create it. So that's it. I think this is the opportunity where you can actually use AI in order to, map what you have from history, from photographs. My favorite work from last year was Apple TV and BBC did something called Prehistoric Planets. We've done 2 seasons with the voice of Sir David Attenborough. And we have created a world 66 million years ago, right? All those creatures, etc. Now that's what it allows you to do. And I think that's, you can look at the future and you can look at the past. So the way I see it is that, AI really is an enabler. It's not a competition to what we're doing. So there's this thing called CNN, as most of you technology guys in the room know, which is convolutional neural networks, right? And that's really what makes AI enhance image quality. It makes it reduce noise in the visual sense, optimize exposure, sharpen details, adjust colors. All of this is happening. Even those of you who use simple Instagram filters will know what I'm talking about at a basic level, but at the professional level or the enterprise level, that's just mind-blowing and staggering. Thank you very much.
Up next, Alok Nandi unravel the evolving field of UI UX design while stressing on the significance of user-centered designing.
One of the challenge in all these setups is the attention span was 1.3 second. And here for 1,300,000,000 seconds, you are sitting listening to us. And some of you are telling, gosh, what are we doing here? And so I'll try to, anyone who's getting frustrated, who's getting angry, stand up, shout, scream. Otherwise, we won't get into dialogic mode. Because the magic of World Cafe is dialogic mode, conversational. Dialogic space needs to be designed. And thank you, Pearl Academy and the leadership to come with that. And we need to focus and make that more and more. And I'll finish on that with 3 keywords that you'll need to work on. Word finding, wish finding, and way finding. That is what will keep you busy during this World Cafe. And it is a complex exercise. And you'll have moderators, which will allow you to keep the conversation focused. And thank you, all of you. You have to interact on what's next.
The conference featured unconventional sessions employing the World Cafe format, fostering collaborative dialogue. Attendees delved into meaningful conversations, sharing perspectives and actionable insights on pixels and passion, boundless expression, and reimagining education. These sessions provided a platform for challenging assumptions, fostering creativity, and shaping the future of creative expression. Following this, the panel engaged in exchange of perspectives, concluded through the World Cafe dialogue on crafting aesthetics in the digital realm.
Each one of you will just get 400 seconds to express and summarize the discussion that you have on the table. And I hope you guys are ready. We'll start from this corner. Let's go with you. Your time starts now.
We went through a bunch of subjects. We started with how a lot of the generative tools now are essentially enabling us to create more. We're seeing a democratization of these tools, especially the big question was of how design thinking, is it elitist, is it not? But then you see the rise of so many tools making it easier for more and more people to access these creative tools on your handphone, on your smartphone, which is spreading as a user base as well. So when you have access to these tools, it's essentially coming down to design thinking being common sense and being empathetic. And that essentially will give us better experiences.
Yeah, I'm from Group 8. Everything around AI revolves around data, and data is the essence. So in context of design, again, depends on what kind of authenticity, soul, originality, etc. we want. Respective data has to be generated or has to be available.
We started with Stone Age. We are in digital age. We are going to be in AI age or whatever. But humans are going to always win. They are going to always keep the flag hoisted. And what we need to understand is, yes, as we were in Stone Age or Copper Age or whatever age, we have to, as most of us have told, this is a great tool for all of us to leverage help us express in our best way. Uh, and that's the role of a designer is going to be. We can even call it like AI can keep the pixel and designers will keep the passion.
So big round of applause for all of them. They did a great job.
Pearl Academy presents What's Next? In association with CNBC-TV18. Pearl Academy presents What's Next? In association with CNBC-TV18.
Pearl Academy's What's Next hosted another interesting keynote by Niyam Bhushan, founder of DesignRev, who explored the boundless possibilities of implementing tech in creative processes.
I am a definite optimist. This is a term that I want Indians to understand, authored by Peter Thiel. If you want to be successful, you should have a simple goal where you have to have a definite idea of a better future. And then you focus on that and said, what are you going to do specifically to come to that better future? My vision on starting DesignRev 10 years ago exactly was, India is known as the IT superpower of the world. Arey nahi, I want India to become the design superpower of the world. And I feel that very soon India will be known as a design superpower, but only if designers solve the problem of digital sovereignty. Digital, what it means to be India on the internet. And that is my vision. Into that heaven of digital freedom, my father, especially for the Kong Bang, let my country awake. Thank you.
Nikhil Malhotra, Chief Innovator at Tech Mahindra, through his keynote address, elaborated on the scope of creative expression in the field of tech business.
I think you've seen pixels, you've seen what imagery can do for you. Spare a thought for us. We are the algorithm developers and designers who make those tools for you, which allows you to make those pixels, etc. Right? So we are the researchers. So we built India's first grounds-up large language model in Hindi as a challenge in only $150,000, which was much less than $10 million, and we're still not done. We are actually doing this. So the reason why we wanted to do this was very simple. There's a huge gap in language, where you can see English, Spanish, French being represented in these large language models. Indian languages are not. And Indian languages are underrepresented. India is a land of 27 mother tongues, or 22 as they call it officially, and 1645 dialects. But unofficially, India speaks about 19,200 dialects. You move in 40 kilometers, the dialect would change. That's India. That's the diversity of India. So I wanted to capture that diversity of India, because it's not just about language, it's also about how you speak. But the idea behind me showcasing this to you and coming on this platform is that Pearl Academy and their students would get this fundamental structure when Makers Lab gets developed inside Pearl Academy.
A panel of experts enriched the discussion from the World Cafe session, amplifying the scope of techno-creative intersections.
Today, we have all the panelists here with me, and we are going to do it in a Pecha style, which is you have 400 seconds to sum up what we discussed on each table. Could we start from the right here?
World that we are living in India, we don't have a governing body which is controlling data from a more secure point of view. And again, from the privacy, when we talk about, it is we who are giving this data, and we need to be more meaningful and careful while downloading this data or apps that we are using.
Thanks. And we straight go to your table. Table number?
Table number 2. We had a great discussion. So the first thing that we discussed on was AI in content creation, a tool for democratizing creativity or a threat to job security in the creative industry. And I think most of us agreed that it cannot really be a threat to job security. It is again an enabler. We believe that AI and creativity can coexist. It can help people be more productive.
Let's move to the last table, and the youngest one here. Welcome.
So I'll be speaking for table number 1. So I think we all agreed that in all our occupations, AI is a great enabler. For example, someone were telling about how writing a mail could become so easy with ChatGPT because AI, a lot of opinions that things are copied and stuff. So we were also having discussions about whether anything is super original at all because we all get inspired every day and do things from here and there. So in a way, it's enabling our creativity, and it's all on us and how we use it is what I think we could all agree on.
Thank you. So, yes, we are bang on time. And just last remark here for my, team academics here. There was a discussion around originality. There were discussions around whether we are at the risk of creative paralysis. No, we are moving towards creative experimentation abound. It's boundless creativity that's building up. And what's original? Yes. What's human? These are some questions that we have to ask ourselves. It starts with that philosophy, and tech comes later, which is just a tool for creative and for boundless experimentation.
Up next, the conference witnessed an exciting address by Suryavanka, founder of Authentic Design, that aimed at reimagining India's educational landscape by encouraging creative learning.
What have we created in the environment that start to actually get in the way of learning? So inclusive learning is a design approach that considers, again, the edge, right, to solve for everybody. And remember, there's physical ability. There's a lot of ways that people get excluded, not just because of their physical disability. They get excluded from learning because of their age, because of their weight, because they're rural, because they're poor. These are all ways that learners get excluded. Here are your final how might we's. How might we ensure that learning solutions are accessible and inclusive for all? And particularly, obviously, how can we use the inclusive design framework of designing from the edge to ensure that? How might we revolutionize India's educational framework to become the global standard bearer for inclusion? Again, please connect to some of the provocations, lovely provocations that connect to this, right? How might we focus on serving the most excluded to create inclusive educational systems that benefit everybody, right? So that we don't start with the cookie cutter norm and then make accommodations for the others. So in wrapping, when we think of a VUCA world, we have to really rethink education. This is not normal, the place we are at. We are at a very unusual place in the history of this planet and an unusual place in terms of education. Consider these three frames. And once again, those are some how might we's to trigger.
The conference concluded with an enriching panel discussion that traced the possibilities and limitations of implementing AI in the Indian education.
So without further ado, I'm going to invite each of you. The rules are laid, 400 seconds per head. So we can start the session. Yeah, so maybe I can start with you.
Sure. I'm representing table number 7 over there. And I think we had very diverse perspectives. We had people from academia, from the industry. So the summary of what we discussed was that the emphasis should always be on critical thinking. That should be first. And then introducing AI tools and making sure that these tools are age appropriate and subject appropriate.
Listen to table number 5, and that's Geeta.
I'll just summarize very briefly the very interesting conversations at our table. And I think the consensus was that it was necessary to have some form of artificial intelligence as a foundation in design education. But at the foundation level, there was questions that were really raised about whether it should be at the level of awareness or whether it should be much more complex like computer science, or whether it should be a form of thinking like design thinking where we engage with computational thinking and reasoning and so on.
I'm representing group 2. Each educational institution has their own unique values, and even each faculty has their own unique values, right? While educational institutions are focused on learning to learn, corporations are productivity focused and need to cater to business goals. I think someone in a group said that education creates great citizens, while corporation focuses on achieving end goals. While there are online courses, our group agreed that you cannot substitute a physical mentor. The same way where What's Next could never happen online, and we are here with everybody. And that core knowledge transfer can happen face to face, and also that social emulation is important. We learn better when we learn together.
I thank each one of you for this wonderful session. Thank you very much.
Pearl Academy presents What's Next in association with CNBC-TV18. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.